Hi, my name is Jim, and I can actually shoot spider webs. Let me tell you about how this all came to happen. Growing up, I was a massive superhero fanatic. I watched all the movies related to them and read all the comics as well. My favorite one was without a doubt Spider-Man. I thought he was the coolest, and I always wondered what it would be like to be able to have his superpowers. I also identified so much with Peter Parker. He was a geek and had a dry sense of humor in the comics. I loved him so much, and he even had a beautiful girlfriend. I imagined being just like him in every way and hoped I could somehow make this become a reality. But as I grew up, I began becoming truly obsessed with this idea. Was there a way to change my life around and make it all better? Make myself a real-life Spider-Man? I began to wonder, to plan different options. It took me a while to actually come up with an idea I thought could work, but eventually it came to me. What if I began eating spiders? I know how crazy it sounds, but I figured there wouldn't be anything to lose and a whole lot to win. After all, if I didn't get superpowers, I'd simply be eating a few nasty bugs. People all around the world munch on insects, and nothing ever happens to them, so I knew it was safe enough. I was obsessed enough to want to try anything and everything to achieve my dream, so I was really determined. I would go outside and search for spiders at first, munching on every single one I found. At first, it was so disgusting, but it didn't take long to get used to the feeling and taste. After a while, honestly, I began kind of liking it. But honestly, between school and homework, I didn't have the time to search all over for new spiders to try. I would still grab and eat every single one I managed to find, but I knew there needed to be an easier, faster way to try new species. So I went online, and since you can basically buy anything online, I quickly found a few websites I could order spiders from. Boxes began arriving every few days, and I'd eat its contents with increasing frustration. Nothing was happening. It simply wasn't working. I figured maybe I should search for some sketchier providers. Maybe then I'd find the right kind of spider, one that hadn't been so well tended to in the first place. I ordered from a handful of different sellers and kept on sampling the incoming bugs. One day, a big package arrived. It was filled with a few spiders for me to choose from, and I was surprised to see that one of them was glowing lightly. Could it be that it was radioactive, just like the one Peter Parker had been bitten by? My heart was racing when I munched on it, but much to my disappointment, nothing happened. I was so depressed. I thought if any of them had a chance of making me shoot webs, it would be this one. I went to bed and fell asleep just about ready to give up. What I didn't know at that moment was that my life was about to change forever while I slept. I woke up the next morning feeling so odd. I wasn't sure what was wrong, but I felt a tingly feeling all over my body. I wondered if I had food poisoning or something like that from eating that glowing spider. I rushed to the bathroom, but realized I was feeling perfectly fine, except that my skin still seemed to be tingling. So I asked myself, maybe it worked after all. Maybe I had developed superpowers after all. I tried it, moving my hand just like Spider-Man does in the movies. And it worked! I shot webs forward and stuck against the wall. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. Finally, after weeks of eating spiders, I had reached my wildest dream. It was incredible, and I tried it several times just to check if I wasn't having a dream or hallucinating. But it was true. I was really just like Spider-Man. I'll be perfectly honest, though. I'm not a hero or anything of that sort. I don't fight crimes or use my powers for the greater good. I'm lazy, and I don't believe in that whole Uncle Ben stuff. With great power comes great responsibility, he said. But I don't want to risk my life and go around saving people. Mostly, I use my powers to grab stuff that's across the room from me when I'm feeling lazy and don't want to stand up, or to impress my friends. Speaking of my friends, they really freaked out when they discovered my powers. I told them all about my plans, and they had mocked me about eating spiders. So when I arrived at school and told them that I had gained superpowers, they laughed at me all over again. Of course, they didn't believe me. So I told them I'd show them after classes were over since I didn't want anyone discovering my powers. They were super skeptical and agreed to go to my house after school was over just to prove I wasn't lying. Imagine their surprise when, after locking the door to my room, I turned around and shot a web from my wrist. It was so cool to prove them all wrong. My friends kept asking me to use my powers to help them out, and sometimes I agreed. They are my friends after all, even if they didn't believe in me at first.